Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Real Red Talk, the authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. And we're not coming to you live from the US. We're not on the tour. We really wish we was. Believe me, I wish we was there. But regardless, we've still got some very, very exciting things to discuss. Of course, this is your breaking news show. We've got Shreyas alongside me. How are we doing, Shreyas?
Yeah, doing perfectly well. Really excited for this show. Lots of news coming out as well, which is finally a good sign to see because the earlier week was pretty low when it came to news and anything about the
Yeah.
updates. Some have been good, some have been very irritating as well. So a lot of stuff for us to actually discuss, and yeah, hopefully people can join us and share their opinions on us in the live chat as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I know we say quite a lot. We've got lots of stuff to get into, but today we actually have. We've got loads of stuff. So Bruno Fernandes it's been announced that he's officially the new captain. We're going to touch on that. Ben Jacobs has given a takeover update over on his Twitter, which I thought was fascinating. Some insight there. Hag wants to keep hold of Harry Maguire. The reports that are coming out. Onana to play on Saturday. His visa's been sorted, and his medical transfer news on Rasmus Højlund and Amrabat, and something interactive towards the end if we have time. So, like Shreyas said, make sure you do get involved in the comment section and subscribe to the channel if you're new around these parts. We're going to kick it straight off with the Bruno Fernandes news, new captain. And there's a quote from Erik ten Hag. I think this was back in February when he got asked about Bruno, his leadership skills, etc. And he said, Bruno can cope with a load of standards that are really high and could take a lot of games. That he's saying this back in February. He said he's a very fit player and so important for this team. First, as captain, is an example on the pitch with the energy he puts in, and for our tactical approach in both the transition moments. Bruno is so important for this team. He's a great example for everyone in the squad. First and foremost, it's the right decision to make, Shreyas, and if so, why?
I think it is the right decision because I think whenever you see Bruno Fernandes on the pitch, you see him acting as that focal point. You see him demanding more from the players, who are playing alongside him, and the players actually respond to him on the pitch as well. Because last season we saw moments when we were not performing well, and Bruno was able to, get these players around. He was able to integrate the team well. He was able to make them actually respond, in the face of adversity. Because we used to see that under Maguire, whenever the pressure used to get piled on us, we used to completely break apart on the pitch. And that is something we did not see under Bruno. And, another fact is that we've seen United under different leaders as well. Like when Bruno was not there and Casemiro was given the leadership for a while, we saw that he's a good leader, but players are not able to respond to Casemiro the way they respond to Bruno on the field. So I think making Bruno the captain was the perfect decision. I think being surrounded by players like Casemiro and players like Varane who can actually act as leaders in their departments as well, it gives him a lot of cover and a lot of push, and it actually pulls the team together and builds a strong unit. And I think one of the biggest things that we saw last season was we in certain games, like you could say the game against Man City at Old Trafford, or even against Barcelona at Old Trafford, we saw that sometimes at certain areas we do not have the quality to actually be able to compete with these teams. But if just the 11 players who are on the field, they work on the same page and they work in a coordinated manner, you can sometimes pull off something completely different out of the bag, and that's why we were able to get those wins, and we were able to get those results for quite some time from that after World Cup period till March. So I think getting Bruno Fernandes in the armband, I think, was the right decision, and I think the sooner actually Ten Hag did it was the better, because now preseason has started. Bruno is already the captain. The new signings who are going to be coming in as well, they would know how to how this team works, who to respond to, who is the person who might be demanding the most from us, and who we need to actually be on the same page and link with.
Yeah, I think you make a great point about the other players being around him as well, your Casemiro's, the Sandros, because it's very different to under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. A lot of people kind of shied away from whether it was criticism or performances on the pitch and hid behind players like McTominay sometimes were trying to play out from the back, not just hiding, in interviews or whatever, but hiding actually in the game performance-wise. So I think that's a great point you make. Yeah. How do you think his leadership in general, though, will differ from previous United captains? Because you get captains, but they come in all shapes and forms and sizes, don't they? You had Erik Cantona, who kind of set by example in training, didn't he? He weren't exactly like a Vidic, but it was a different kind of style. And then Roy Keane was like in your face, demanded these standards. Gary Neville was slightly different. He put in a consistency. So how do you think Bruno Fernandes' leadership will differ from that?
I think he's a blend when it comes to passion for the club and when it comes to being quality on the pitch. Um, I think when you see Bruno, whenever he's on the pitch, you see that passion oozing out of him. No matter what the situation is. And another thing is when he's playing on the pitch. I think last season, on most occasions, he was one of the best players that we had on the field. He was generating chances left and right, and he was playing in absolutely every single position you can think of. He played as six, he played as an eight, he played as a 10, and he played out wide as well. But every single one of those spots, Bruno was never invisible on the pitch. He was able to make his presence being felt throughout the course of the game, and that is one thing you actually want from your captain. You don't want your captain to go invisible on the pitch, because the moment that happens, you lose your touch. The players, they start to drift off a little. So I think till the time the captain is actually involved in whatever proceeds during the game, no matter how they're playing, if they're able to make their presence felt, it does have an impact on the team. And I think Bruno, no matter what he does, whether the way he responds to referees, the way he acts on the pitch, sometimes it just gets a reaction out of the team. So I think he's a blend of passion. Definitely, he's a quality player, and he's someone who is able to integrate this team well. Like he's able to integrate these different personalities. Experienced players, young players like Garnacho coming in, Sancho coming in. He's able to get them well rounded, and he's able to provide them with a platform to actually perform. And that's why we saw Garnacho actually having such a stellar season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Bruno Fernandes, but get your comments in. Let us know your thoughts on Bruno being the new captain. If there's anybody else you wanted to see, former captains, anything you want, Martha, and kind of in on this discussion. I just wanted to say he's not come without his criticisms, Bruno. He's not been an amazing throughout and throughout. There has been bits of his game where he's been criticised. And two of the things I wanted to ask you about, one of them was his attitude in certain games, kicks up a fuss, stinks sometimes, especially the big away games. And then the other one was the away games, like sometimes the big, it goes missing sometimes. Is that a worry for you?
I think it was a worry for me last season, because last season our midfield, when it came to creativity and attacking, it definitely depended all and solely on Bruno Fernandes. Like when Bruno used to shut off, you could see Eriksen being shut off. You could see Eriksen, not being able to fend off in transitions and not being able to, perform well. That creativity which we used to demand from Eriksen used to vanish whenever we see that Bruno gets swarmed. Casemiro's work rate had usually got tripled. It used to get him in a lot of tough situations as well. But I think this season, now that we're having a player like Mason Mount, I think it provides Bruno with a lot of cover as well. And I think definitely in certain games you could see Bruno's attitude being a problem. Sometimes in the away games you could see him just throwing his arms in the air, or in all situations like that. But I think one of the things is definitely there is scope for improvement on Bruno Fernandes, and I think I see it as a positive sign, because right now when he's not, I would say he's not the perfect captain material right now, but he's still able to carry out one of the best win percentages for a captain in the past 4 to 5 years. So imagine if he's able to work on these departments, how good of a captain he can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we have any comments we can get into before we kind of move on to the next topic at all?
Yeah, we have Brian Casey in the chat. Henry Jones saying hello. Brian Casey saying great news that Bruno has been officially given the captaincy. It made perfect sense. One of the most senior players in the starting 11 now. Danish Khan saying, what do you think about Onana and how will he improve United?
We're going to touch on Onana very, very shortly.
Brian Casey saying, be interesting to see who gets the vice captaincy now. Casemiro, Luke Shaw, Rashford have to be the front runners right now.
Yeah, well, we'll get your votes in for that. Who you'd like as the vice captain? I mean, to be honest, it's still a big enough role, but like vice captain, you could pick out. You said there's a team of leaders, isn't it? You got Shaw, Lissandro, Cassidy. It could be any one of them. I'm not particularly fussed about that. I'm just happy that the captaincy thing's been done and Maguire's been stripped, to be honest with you, because Bruno should be picking up them trophies. The work rate he puts in the games and the consistency you get out of him and his ability, he should be the one lifting the trophies, not part doing it with Maguire. I think we can all kind of agree on that. Right, let's move on to the takeover then, because we've got loads of stuff to get into. So I would love to sit here and speak for about half an hour about Bruno Fernandes, but the reality is we've got loads of stuff to talk about. So Ben Jacobs took to Twitter last night after all this stuff came out from Mike Keegan about him potentially staying until autumn or winter. And he was saying basically he understands the United sale process has not been paused, even though it's true that both Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe feel somewhat in limbo. There is frustration at the lack of communication, but neither group plan to pull out or have been told they are unsuccessful to date. Ratcliffe has publicly confirmed he is still in the process. Sheikh Jassim's 9-2 Foundation feel the ball has been in the Glazers' court for weeks, but they do now have everything ready from a legal and logistical perspective to start the completion process if chosen. Now, Shreyas, what I wanted to ask you, because we've covered this takeover so much, with all this talk of the Glazers still being here for this season, do you think we could still be successful if they stay?
I think it depends if they are willing to still fund certain projects of the club and certain transfers of the club. Because if they decide that we don't, we're going to sell the club eventually, whether it's in autumn, whether it's in spring, whether it's during the winter, we are going to sell the club and we don't want to invest into the club anymore. We just, we just want to take all of the money that we can out of this club and just leave. So if that is the case and we are not able to, back Erik Ten Hag properly with the striker that he wants, we don't want a Wout Weghorst situation all over again. So if that happens, then it can genuinely impact us. But if we are still able to pull off like one striker signing, I think we'll be decent enough to actually stay afloat. I'm not saying that we can go on to win major trophies, but I'll say we like top four or something like that could still be on the cards if we are able to get a striker. But I think the deal with the Glazers is the more they stay, the more it hurts the club economically, as well as overall the kind of air that is surrounding Manchester United fans right now. It is just going to get worse and worse the more they stay. So sometimes it does get to the players as well as to what is actually happening with the club and genuinely how the fans actually react to it as well. So personally, I would want them to leave as soon as possible, but I think the more they stay, it could get a bit tough for the players to actually react on it as well, because the Glazers never actually, come out and speak about anything. The people actually demand more from the players and might ask questions from the players, and the players are in no position to actually, come out and say something about such a sensitive topic because they're binded to the club. So I think it will be a very bad situation for a Manchester United player to be in the next, few months.
Yeah, well, the theory is that because of this new Champions League format and the Club World Cup and all these things means more money for the Glazers. So if they're not hitting that £6 billion figure that they want, then theoretically they can keep hold of it for another year, 2 years, increase its value, and then eventually get the value that they want whilst still making money off the club in itself without having to put in any significant investment in the stadium or anything like that, which would obviously be an absolute nightmare. But then the article goes on to say, as previously revealed, no group has been granted exclusive negotiations. Understand the process letters for every bidding stage made it clear in writing exclusivity for final negotiation would not be granted. Following 9-2 Foundation's fifth improved bid, Sheikh Jassim's perspective had been he will either be successful or there will be a no sale coupled with some form of financing. The 9-2 Foundation essentially view Ratcliffe as a stalking horse and a no sale as more of a rival to their bid, but that's not a view shared by other well-informed sources apparently. But the magical question at this point is, Shreyas, why is it taking so long? Is it simply a case of them taking time to decide amongst siblings? Is he more at play here? Will they try to squeeze another bid? Is that fifth and final bid Sheikh Jassim's last one, or do you think there'll be another bid? Multiple questions there for you.
Thing is, right now, even I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. Whether it's going to be another bidding process, whether it's going to just be them choosing who to actually.
What does your instinct tell you about this? You know, the thing where they're saying that, oh, we could stay until after the Premier League or could go into the winter. What does your instinct kind of tell you on that? Do you think that's a play, or do you think that's genuine?
They're just trying to get that 6 billion out. Like, genuinely, they're just trying to get that. Yeah, they just want to get the 6.5 billion out of Qatar, and that's why they're delaying it as much as they can. Like we actually read as well that they don't care whether it actually goes into the next season, start of next season, whether it's a winter or whether it goes into spring. They don't really care. They just they have not come to a decision yet, and the decision is simple that they want that evaluation that they quoted previously when they came out with that 6.5 billion, and Qatar have, I think, come to a figure that is close to a 6 billion mark, which is once again triple or 4 times the amount already of what the club is actually worth. But they I think will only be willing to sell once they reach that mark, and they're just trying to make as much as they can out of the club by delaying it. So I genuinely wouldn't really be surprised if we go into another bidding round. Like, it could happen. And as unpredictable and as frustrating as this has been, we can genuinely not leave anything out of the cards. Something completely different can happen at any time. But once again, the thing is, this thing will only be ended once the Glazers actually send anything out officially, because the biggest part about all of this is that no one actually knows what is going on behind the scenes. Like, genuinely, no one has a clue as to
No
what's
one.
going on.
NDAs stop him from
Exactly my
speaking.
point.
So
So
yeah.
everyone is just out of speculation, just assuming, and it's a very it's a very doubtful time, I would say, because
Yeah.
nothing can be actually said as sure and as certain of. You genuinely don't know anything. Brian Casey in the chat saying, I think we can all agree we are all just sick of this takeover saga. Need to be sorted soon so we can get the new season underway with no dramas. Hashidalo saying
hmm
Bruno will be one of the best captains ever. I said it, I'm saying it, and I will say it until it's clear to all of us. The Glazers won't sell. It was just to throw smoke in the eyes of the fans.
Who's put that?
Hashidalo.
Ashley Dallow. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I want to speak about Ratcliffe's side, because Ratcliffe, in his bid, has been flexible. He's been giving the Glazers, a route to go either as a 6 or stay in some form of capacity. And following positive dialogue in May and June, he's yet to make another further headway. He has had direct talks with the Glazers, though. Apparently, that's what's coming out. Both groups have indicated they don't want to be drawn into further bidding or games. But then that was said after April, I think. Another 2 bids went in after that they weren't going to put another bid in. So would it surprise me if Qatar was like, this is the last ever bid, ever, like, the last ever. It's just like, you don't know what's going to happen. I just feel like at this point, I know Qatar want to save face, and I know they don't want to fucking, you know what I mean? They don't want to say, right, here's your 6 billion, we'll give you what you want, because then publicly around the world, everyone's going to see it.
Yeah.
That Qatar have basically given into the demands, and whenever they do business with them, it's like, we'll just hold out. And the Rain Group are being paid to squeeze this £6 billion. So they're coming up with every form and tactic and everything they can. When they come out with things like this, which is why I agree, I think it's pressure to put another bid in. They're going to say, oh, they might stay until after winter, or they might stay until after finger. That puts that fans uproar, pressure from either side, pressure from the media. Well, I thought it was interesting. So Dave Brailsworth, who's one of Sir Jim Ratcliffe's right-hand man, got asked a question on ITV today about the takeover, and he said, we've obviously been involved and it's something that we're very keen to do. It's not something we can discuss in detail. We've got to sign up to NDAs and all the rest of it. But like I said, the Ratcliffe bid itself, legal issues with shareholders, not 100% of the club. The debt is still technically there, but there are flexible options, and apparently he would win the legal case. So it's an absolute minefield. And he's not going to have the same wealth as Sheikh Jassim. So I don't like. Do you feel like this Ratcliffe bid would still feel like a kick in the teeth? I understand that's a lot of information to process, what I've just said, but do you still feel like it'd be a kick in the teeth even if Ratcliffe was to win for you?
I think it definitely would be, and I think the Glazers are actually viewing the Ratcliffe bid as of last resort. Like, if things don't work out well with Qatar, like Qatar pull out or something happens in a negative way with Qatar, and they are forced to in a situation where nothing else is seen financially wiser.
Are you calling Jim Ratcliffe a side piece? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so, because I think if his bid would have been strong enough, I think something would have happened by now. Like, it genuinely would have happened by now. Qatar would never have been given an opportunity to put another bid in if the Glazers thought that Sir Jim's bid is good enough. It was never good enough. That's why they wanted Qatar to actually come back into the race. That's why Qatar came in with the that 6 billion point mark bid once again. And we all saw those rumors that Sir Jim's offer is practically dead in the water, and there's practically nothing positive has actually come out of Sir Jim's scam. A lot of positive things have come out Qatar scam ever since the last bit.
Even the plan, right, with Ratcliffe, like, there's been no plan. You saw with Sheikh Jassim, it's like, I'm going to do this. Ratcliffe, the only kind of thing that came out was, I'm going to put the Manchester back in Manchester United. And you've heard talks about the pub and things like this, and you're like, I don't know if you can read the room properly. Like, we don't want to hear, this is like old times. It's like a vanity project or whatever. Like,
he has just left question marks when it comes to what would his idea be with the
so
club.
messy.
Does he want to take? Which direction does he want to take the club to? Which Sheikh Jassim actually has answered from his end, that I want to clear out the debt. I want to reinvest into the stadium, into the youth teams, into the women's team, into the male team as well. And I want to make Manchester United competitive enough, build an infrastructure which is one of the finest for the players to actually be training in. But nothing of that sort has come from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So it's just question marks from his side.
Well, in terms of if someone was to get announced or not, we get a so-called winner. That's what he said, and then a 6 to 12 weeks, depending on how long it takes. But apparently, Sheikh Jassim's would take a lot longer because of director's tests and all this kind of stuff. And to Jim Ratcliffe's would be done quicker. And whoever is, if they find out the news that they are going to lose out or they have lost out, you will see them come out. That'll be the first thing that you see come out because they'll try to save face, essentially. Yeah. So if you see something coming out saying Ratcliffe has left the table or whatever, blah, 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 you could probably assume that either, Qatar have won or whatever. Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that. It seems like I said at the end of last week, it's been so dry on the takeover that we've had nothing from any journalist whatsoever, not a peep. Now this week, it feels like there's a bit of traction. So hopefully this news continues to come out and hopefully we can get to the bottom of it like we've been saying for months, but we probably won't. I won't hold my breath. Let's move on to Harry Maguire then, Treyas. Something coming out from TalkSport before, so again, take it with a pinch of salt. It's like reading something from the Sun. But Erik ten Hag has told Harry Maguire he does not want him to leave Manchester United despite stripping him of the captain's armband. Relations between them are amicable. Harry Maguire remains relaxed about his Manchester United future. He will make a decision on whether to leave or stay or fight in his place for the coming weeks. It appears that David Moyes is very seriously looking at the prospect of paying a chunk of the fee West Ham have received from the sale of Declan Rice. Please do, David, if you're watching. Yeah. Why would Ten Hag not want him to go, do you think? Because that surprised me a little bit. Or do you think that's more like kind of saving face again, media, putting it out there? I don't know. What do you think?
Ten Hag has come out with positive remarks about every single player that has actually been at Manchester United.
I don't know if this is directly from his mouth or this is a source who's saying it. That's why I'm like...
But I think that the hair's time is up. Like, and...
his time definitely up there.
And we were able to figure it out even though Ten Hag came out and said that he still believes that he's the number one goalkeeper at the club and, I rely on him and stuff like that. The same, he came out with Ronaldo as well, that what do you expect of him? He said goals. So I think with Harry Maguire could be a similar case. He has genuinely fell down the pecking order. There are strong links to West Ham, and maybe it's a way to actually drive his price up a little bit, that he's being valued at the club. But I think he needs to figure out a way to actually get out of the club because he won't be getting any game time here. He will be, just warming the benches. And I think it is important for him to actually get game time because I don't think that he'll be happy being a squad player who doesn't even get game time regularly.
But if he was happy being a squad player as a fourth option, would that be bad?
Yes, because of the wages that we're paying him. For a fourth choice centre back,
it could free it up.
Exactly. For a fourth choice or fifth choice centre back, you don't want to be playing above 150 or 200 grand. Don't want that sort of a player. If you are paying that sort of money, you need them to be a starter. And right now, Harry Maguire does not fit that bill. So I think Ten Hag, probably in a, I would say, sophisticated manner, is just trying to, drive his price up a little bit. Probably get a little more, like a 5 or 10 million more than his price that is being quoted. We all know that West Ham right now they are very cash rich because of the Declan Rice sale. So if we are able to generate like a 40 million or even 35 million offer for Harry Maguire, I think it would be a very good offer, something that Manchester United should take on blindly as well. And if it works out, probably we get more funding, probably we get more resources to actually go all out for a striker, because it all just comes down to the fact that we need a striker desperately. And if these sales can boost it up from a Højlund to a Kane, then we should genuinely be looking into these deals.
I mean, it's crazy, like within under a year, you've seen Ronaldo leave the club, David De Gea leave the club, Harry Maguire be demoted as captain and potentially leave the club, and then one of the McFred partnership in Scott McTominay or Fred leave as well. Like, that is, talk about having a list of things to do. Like, that is perfect for United fans to say, what do we need to do? De Gea needs to go. Ronaldo definitely needs to go, especially after that fucking interview. And then Maguire to be dethroned as the captain. You're like, tick, Erik ten Hag. Well done, mate. Fantastic news. So that's outgoings for you. In terms of incomings, Andre Onana has seen at the airport, departing for New York, probably just arrived there now or still on his way. I don't have a flight tracker like all these other kind of ITK accounts or whatever out of on Twitter. But apparently he will be there in time to play for against Arsenal on Saturday, which is very exciting. Yeah, are you excited to see him play, even if it is a small capacity on Saturday?
Yeah, surely. I think the biggest thing would be a lot of people will actually get to see why Ten Hag has actually wanted him, what he brings to the club, why in which department he's better than De Gea, and why is it actually so integral to the way we play now. Because I think the moment Andre Onana comes in, I think it changes the structure of how we actually play out from the back, and the way we attack, and the way we actually perform while we are in possession. Because last season we could see Lisandro or either Varane, whenever De Gea used to take a spot kick, they used to be a little tucked back because they had to make sure that if the ball is lost in the middle areas, there should be someone to actually recover it. With Onana, that fear actually subsides by a big margin, and it helps us in actually creating more, having more of the ball, uh reacting more while build up plays. And I think it would be very exciting to see, because we haven't had that in a long time. And you could see Andre Onana doing it at Ajax, you could see him doing it at Inter Milan, and it actually worked a lot for them. And I think Arsenal would be a very, very good team actually for us to actually judge him as well, and for him to adapt, because this would be the type of competition that he would be coming up against week in and week out in the Premier League. So I think it would be a very good debut for him, and hopefully people will be able to understand as to why this area and this department of goalkeeping has actually researched by such a great margin.
I don't think the fee gets spoken about enough either, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like we paid 43 million
47.
pound, I think it was. Or 40, whatever it is. Yeah, it's like plus add-ons in
Yeah.
it, or with add-ons, you would say. But even still, you look at that, like it'll still potentially have a resale value, because when his contract ends, he'll be like 31, 32, which is David De Gea's age now, which is still
Exactly.
considered relatively young for goalkeepers. So I think that's a fantastic deal. And I think a lot of people look back at that and think, wow, fucking hell, 40 odd million, like fantastic. Him and Mount for 98, and then Rasmus, who we're going to talk about right now, actually. If we can get him for 60 million euros, 50 million, it looks like a decent transfer window there. But Romano's give us an update on this in the last couple of hours or so. He says, I understand Man United will send the opening official proposal to Atlanta for Rasmus Højlund soon. Manchester United want to avoid any hijack from Paris Saint-Germain, as PSG keep speaking to the players' camp. Højlund agreed terms with United, as revealed days ago. And then Alfredo Padula, who's been quite good, like Italian journalist with a lot of things, even the Onana deal. He said Atlanta had a meeting with their manager, Gian Piero Gasparini, last night. The coach had asked for a solution on Rasmus Højlund within 10 days. So this is a deal that could pick up a little bit of pace, actually, despite rumours of being taken a while. Do you think Manchester United will find an agreement on this, and is it absolutely pivotal that we get this guy? Because if we don't, it's one of Eric Ten Hag's, it's Eric Ten Hag's main target in it, if we're being honest. So this is something we need to do, don't we?
I think first of all, it is very important to get this deal done, because we are in a desperate need for a striker. If we don't get this deal done, we are once again going to be relying on Anthony Martial till the time we get one, and that is not a good.
God.
Like the guy is not even fit enough to play in preseason right now. That's all I have to
Mad,
say.
isn't it?
Yeah, we are having we're in the position where we are playing Jadon Sancho in preseason as a striker. So I think the way this deal is going, I'm happy with the pace at which it is going, because I think that it is way more structured, it is way more oriented from United's end. And I think all the deals that we pulled off this season by now, like if you look into the Andre Onana deal, I think it has been a steal of a signing. Like the way we have overpaid on almost all of the signings that we made in the practically all transfer windows since I don't know how long. Getting a goalkeeper for 47 million, who's just 27 or 26 years old, and practically had one of the best seasons of his career, I think it's a steal of a deal. I think Mason Mount, once again, if he's able to perform well, we could be in a position where we are saying the same thing as Casemiro, that he turned out to be a bargain signing for the price that we got him for. And with Højlund, I think they're trying as much as they can to actually lower the fee, because Atlanta were quoting 100 million, then they quoted 85 million. So now we are hearing reports of 50, 55, 60. So there is definitely...
Well, I think that... I think that's English journalists who are putting them prices at the 85 million pounds, and then Romano was putting like 70 million euros. So with a lot of the deals, like the Onana one, because it is Italian based and it's in that kind of league, I tend to lean more towards them journalists that are saying 70 million euros. Because 85 million pounds, it's just, I would never ever play that.
Exactly.
I don't give a shit how much raw talent he is. I would never ever play that.
Yeah, and I think if we are able to get this deal done within that 60 mark, I think it will be a good signing. We'll be able to get a very young striker who can be molded according to Ten Hag's requirements as well. He'll have a perfect manager to work under, and it will be nice to actually seeing a young face playing in that striker position, because we've been seeing players like Cavani, players like Ronaldo, and whenever they come on, even when they were performing well, you had that thing in the back of your mind that after a year or 2 years we need to move on from this. So with Højlund, that isn't the case, because you can keep investing on him, and he can, if he performs, he can stay at the club for the next 5 to 6 years easily.
Yeah. It'd be nice to appreciate him on pre-season tour as well, because all the other signings we didn't see until the actual Premier League kicked off, which then made the bedding in period a little bit tougher because he's thrown straight into the deep end. Like, I appreciate they would have trained with him and stuff, but it's completely different in terms of actual matches. Sticking with the Italian league, another breaking news again around Amrabat. So this is the saying, the feeling now in Fiorentina's offices is that Manchester United will launch a decisive bid for Sofyan Amrabat over the weekend. Fiorentina manager Vincenzo Italiano. I mean, have you ever seen a more Italian name than that? Jesus Christ. Vincenzo Italiano is his name. Like, come on. Sounds like a restaurant. He says even wants Amrabat to join United by Sunday as he's unfocused. And a lot of people were going in on the journalist about this, but it's a pretty reliable journalist, done research, mouthpiece for Fiorentina. I don't get how we have the money for this though, Shreyas, because who have we sold so far?
No one. Like
Tellez, and that's like stalled, isn't it? The Tellez one. I've just seen news coming out about
even
that.
Even if we sell Tellez, it will be around 4 to 7 million. That's the price.
And then the rest has been like Iqbal with a million. Led. That's it, isn't it? I think. Is anyone else sold? Who I'm missing out on? David De Gea's wages have gone off the bill, but that's not a sale, is it? Like,
exactly. And right now there are rumors of certain players being leaving, but nothing has come out concrete yet. No one has actually been sold, whether it's Silanga, whether it's
and Henderson. Yeah, Henderson's on pre-season tour.
Pre-season.
Andy Langer.
Yeah, and maybe Fred leaves, but till now nothing has been confirmed. So right now, till the time we actually get something concrete as to this player is actually leaving, we can't be certain about them leaving or not. We've got a lot of comments as well.
Yes, let's dive in. Let's get going.
Brian Casey in the chat saying it will take some getting used to seeing a keeper actually coming out of his area, but excited to see what he can add to our build-up play. Shah Sam saying, how have we not announced the Onana signing? Brian Casey saying, I think getting Højlund has to be a priority now. I know he's young and unproven. Ten Hag wants him, so he must see what he can add. Aaron saying he would rather get Felix. And PES saying, Felix. Let's not forget the Italian media said Kim Min-jae was a done deal from United. Take everything with a grain of salt. To be honest, Kim Min-jae was actually a done deal from United. Like, the player had a great terms with the club, and he was very excited. He was excited to actually join us, but we just want...
The fee was...
50 million as a...
What we're doing as a club, we were just saying that we really, really like you, but we can't afford you yet. That's essentially what we was doing. And then Bayern was like, we'll pay.
Yeah.
And then Napoli were obviously like, well, we can't really do anything about it because it's a release clause. So it is what it is. But I think we need to be careful with this Amrabat in the same respect as well, because if he's going for 20, 25 million, Liverpool are sniffing around this. I've seen it happen before. It happened with Fabinho, happened with Nunes. They could, within minute, Gakpo as well. I mean, fucking hell, they've actually trumped us on quite a lot of transfers when you think about it. They could, for that price, they could just come in, especially just sold Henderson, they just sold Fabinho for £40 million. Like, they could really continue that redevelopment of the midfield. They brought in McAllister, aren't there? Have they brought in anyone else? I'm sure they've signed someone else. Oh, Shabazz, I forgot about him. And then you bring in Amrabat as well. Like, that engine in the midfield's completely revamped there. So I honestly think they need to move relatively quick on this deal, because if they don't, I see him going somewhere in Europe. I don't know where specifically, but I think he could be a very, very important squad player. Very important.
I think he leaves Fiorentina no matter what happens this season. And I think United, the faster they react to it, the better. I think the moment like a Dean Henderson leaves and Fred or even an Anthony Elanga leaves, I think that is when we will actually go out for Sofyan Amrabat. But I think all of this I think Amrabat deal, it cannot happen until we get the striker deal done. I think right now, and it's a good thing as well, I would say, because the club actually understand how much of a priority a striker is right now for Erik ten Hag. And in a perfect world, probably we might be able to get a striker, and within the next few hours or few days, we'll be able to sign Amrabat as well. But I think right now we need to maintain our patience, and by that I mean we need to be patient with outgoings.
I think the Amrabat deal would be relatively quick because the fee isn't too much. It's not too much talking about. Like they seem to be, agreeing on a similar price to 25 to 30. So I think that'll move quite quick, especially if we do sell a Fred or someone like that. Exactly. So that'd be interesting to keep an eye on as well. Loads of stuff going on with Manchester United at the moment. I said at the start of the show, we're not in America. We wish we was there for pre-season tour, doing loads of content. We're not at that level yet as a channel, but we've still got exciting things to discuss. Still got exciting content coming out. I filmed a video on Kobe Mainu the other day, and that should be dropping at some point this week within the next couple of days. And that's not a members video. That's just for everybody to watch because there was a couple of people asking about it. We dropped the Zion Suzuki video this week. So if you are a member, then obviously you would have seen that already. I hope you enjoyed that video. And if you want to become one, please do, not a video, if you want to become a member, please do click the join button next to the notification bell, or the link is in the video description. And as always, we've got the motorbike flying past my house every single day. I think that's everything. I want to do something interactive, but I just realised my phone isn't in here, so I haven't even got a timer. Have you got a timer on you? This is really underprepared, isn't it?
Yeah, I have a timer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's get a minute ready when you can, and then I'll tell you the task. Or you can ask me one. I'm easy either way. But,
1 minute or so.
Yeah. Okay, and this is for people in the chat as well. So do leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new here. It's something interactive as always because people enjoy it. So, do you want to do it to me, or do you want me to go with you? What I had planned.
What do I have to do though? Give me something to work about.
Well, it's basically it's name goalkeepers in the Premier League. Simple as that. Within a minute.
Okay. Name of goalkeepers in the Prem.
Yes.
Okay.
And you time it. You ready?
Okay. Yeah. I have to go first, or you?
You go first.
Okay. 3.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Andre Onana, Ederson, Alisson, David Raya, Vicario, and Kepa, Ramsdale, Matt Turner,
testing you.
Yeah, one sec. Jose Sa,
nice.
Matt Flecken, Strakosha, Flecken, the guy who just signed for Brentford.
Okay.
And Sanchez, Emiliano Martinez, and
not long left.
I'm out.
Out.
Yeah.
Done. That's not bad though. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Let me go back through the names that you listed. So Onana, Ederson, Alisson, David Raya, Vicario, as someone you said. I don't know.
Who? New Tottenham signing.
Vicario is he called?
Yeah.
Never heard of him, so you did better than me in that. Kepa, Ramsdale, McTurner, did you say?
Matt Turner.
Jose Sa, Matt Flicken.
Yeah.
Flicken. Yeah. Strakosha, Sanchez, and Martinez. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 is okay. So if you want to throw me a position, whatever, and go for it.
Okay.
And you know what? I'll just go. If you want a league as well, I'll try that. A different league to the Prem, but it'd be quite difficult. But I'll give it a go.
Okay. Fullbacks in Bundesliga.
Okay. Oh wow, that's tough. Fucking hell. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try it. Let me know when you put the timer on.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Frimpong, Pavard, Guerrero. Fucking hell. Regulon plays for Wolfsburg. Gunter is for Strasbourg, is it? I think it is.
Yeah.
Meunier plays for Dortmund. I think if he still does. Fucking hell, this is hard. Oh man, this is tough. I'm trying to think. Not Alaba. Alphonso Davies.
Yeah.
Kerr is a French right back for Bayern Munich if he's still there. Fucking hell. Wing backs. This is so hard. I'm stuck. Mate, this is hard. How long got left?
5 seconds.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Angelino Leipzig.
Yeah, okay, Angelino.
There's one there as well. How many did I get? Mukalele as well.
Yeah, you said 4 or 5.
4 or 5? I thought I said
Yeah.
more than that. Did I?
You said
Wow, that was hard.
You said Davies, Guerrero. You slumped after saying Kerr.
Yeah, it's a Pavard as well.
Yeah. That's 4.
Munier, I said
Yeah.
at Dortmund.
5 and Davies.
Alphonso Davies.
Yeah, 6.
I'll have to revisit that. VAR on that moment. VAR. Have a look. That was
Brian
hard,
Casey
though,
in the
to be honest.
chat saying Charlie Savage is on his way to Reading for a permanent move.
Yes. Yeah, I heard about that. Decent. Look, it seems like we're just chopping the blocks, aren't we, at the minute with the youngsters?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're not good enough, mate, you're gone. Ethan Laird's gone. Charlie Savage is gone. Zidane Iqbal's gone.
Iqbal's gone.
Yeah, it's just like they're taking in
Yeah.
a couple, like, I would be interested to see how much he goes for. I reckon it'd probably be like a million or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similar to the Iqbal fee. But yeah, I think that's everything done. Shreyas, I'm going to practice on my wing back when I go back, because that was a nightmare. I challenge anyone to beat that, by the way. Like, because honestly,
6
I couldn't
fullbacks.
think of
6
any
to
other
7
one.
fullbacks.
Yeah, that's hard. But yeah, thank you for everyone tuning in, getting the comments in consistently. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. I said leave a like on the video. Leave a like on the video if you want. And make sure you check out the members video if you haven't already seen it, and keep an eye out for that Kobe Mainu video as well. If anything breaks, of course, we will go live within minutes. So turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And if Shreyas, if you have anything else to add, please do, and then we'll lead it out with the usual song.
If you're new to the channel, then just make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And yeah, make sure to stick around. We've got loads of new content coming up.
Yeah, is that right? Sorry, I thought I was going to. I can't see your face. We've got the soundboard up, so I was just like, all right, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So get your capybara emojis in the comments for the members, and you know the script.
Yeah.
Capybara.
Capybara.
See you in a bit, guys.
Yeah.
Peace.